Alright, so for one cycle, which is a full run all the way down into the steel mill, welcome back everybody to Saurus 001's channel, and this is Open Transport Tycoon Deluxe. Today I'm going to be showing you how to start a game on hard mode and what you should be looking for and how you can get yourself started if you are ever going to join a hard server or play a hard game. So this is pretty straightforward. You're going to be the first one to reach 15 million sort of thing. Which is a pretty standard thing for most servers in the game. So the first thing that we're looking for is a double industry setup somewhere. What we're looking for is two industries that are side by side. So if we get a map of the world out and we switch it onto industry, we got to find two industries that are close enough together. Over here looks good. That's two sawmills. What about down here? Yes, here we go. This is good. This is a good place to start. Right, so we've got 80 tons and 80 tons of iron ore. Now the reason that we're starting here is because we're going to be building our iron ore delivery system. We're probably going to pick up that iron ore along the way, and then we're going to go over here to this steel mill. Now, to get the best start here, this is the way that you do this. One track length, and we're going to put that as long as possible so it covers all of those industries right there. Next thing we're going to do is put another one over here, and then the third industry is going to be placed up here near the steel mill. Now make sure you leave yourself a little bit of room to expand this rail further in the end, and let's get building, and I'll be back once I actually have something built for us. Alright, so we have our first basic rail set up. It's set up to go over here to this steel mill. Now you're probably asking yourself, why do I do it like this when in my Pro Start video I actually set it up so that it's got two rails running? Well, the Pro Start video is actually a Pro Start for a normal game. It's not actually a Pro Start for a hard game. Now, if any of you know, if you're starting in a hard game, the values are very, very different to what you normally have. So you have to get started somewhere before you can do anything. Now, we're just going to go with a length of 5 for this. So, what I'm doing here is I'm sending it between those two stations. It's going to go here, it's going to activate this station, and then it's going to go and activate that station. Now once it's activated this station and starts coming back here, I'm going to add in the third leg of the journey. As you can see, even after building such a small rail, I only have 2,000 pounds left. And the maximum loan is 270,000. But we've got 180,000 in loans at the moment, which is quite a significant amount. We can't repay anything, but we're going to borrow a couple of thousand because we need a couple of thousand just to keep going. Now, if you're doing this on a server, generally what will happen is they will only allow you to have 150,000 to start. And that's probably not going to be enough to set up something like this. So the truth is you go from here to here until you earn enough to expand it out to here. But you can't go through like farmland and stuff. If you're playing a hard game, you have to actually be very smart about where you start. But considering we have 270,000 as our maximum loan to start this game, it's not really a problem. Now that this is Now that this has reached the second spot, what I do is I add in the third order, which is Buntborough Woods, and I just leave it like that. Now what will happen is it will load up here, and then it will finish loading here, and then take it all to the iron ore mine. So one train doing this should have a full load each time it pulls into this station from all three of these iron ore mines. It doesn't really matter what industry you do this with, but yeah, that's the way that works. And I'll just show you in the train itself. So this has got 20 tons. It's almost full already just from going between there and there. So it will probably fill up here. But if one of these mines closes, you will still be getting iron ore from the other mine. And we can expand this station later on when we have enough money. But for now, this is the way that you start off a game in a hard mode game. And yes, breakdowns are on. I'll just show you the budget. So the loan interest is costing me just as much as the infrastructure. This train has already lost me 1,000 and it hasn't even delivered its first amount yet. I've spent this much on construction, this much on new vehicles, etc., etc. So we've got 180,000 that we are already in debt just from starting off this company. And once we deliver it into here, I will show you the amount that this train will bring in. And the margins when you're starting a game like this are very, very slim. Like you barely make any money in the first couple of years. It's only when you get your empire running and pumping out thousands and thousands of tons of whatever resource it is, or transporting thousands and thousands of tons of whatever resource it is, that you start actually earning a serious amount of cash. But for now, this is what we're going to have to do. So it's about to pull into the station, and usually loan interest on a hard game is not set at 2% either. It's usually like 4% as well, and inflation is usually set at 3%. So just keep that in mind. It will be slightly more expensive if you actually play it on a server hard game. I'll just take a look and see what that earns. 26,000, right. So that's cost us, once it gets back to the start of this railway system, we will know what it actually costs us. We're just going to speed this up real quick. For one cycle. I'm going to send you back to the thing. Alright, oh actually we need to keep that going. Alright, so for one cycle, which is a full run all the way down into the steel mill, it costs us around 8,200 for one cycle, and we're only making 26,000 from the actual train itself. So as you can see, it's going to take a long time to pay back all of that money with just a single train. Now, the next thing that we need to do after we have a setup like this is to expand this. And the way that you expand this is I'll have to move this depot out, flatten that piece, and put a second train track in there. And then we can have two trains running along there at the same time. But as for the moment, we don't really have the money to either buy a second train or put in the second train track, so that's really pointless. But that's basically how you start in a hard mode game. Make sure that you find two of whatever industry it is that you're going to be working with. I suggest just taking the first one that comes along and run it to a nearby station. Oh, there is another thing that I would like to point out. The cargo payment graph, if we go to cargo payment rates, you see how this drops off over time with the days in transit. Well, what people do, and I've seen this far too often in games, is they'll be starting in the year 1950 with trains such as this one here, and they'll be going right across the map with them. Now, That's not a good idea because you can only earn a maximum of about, well, depending on the length of the train, about 100,000 with a train like this in the year 1950. In fact, it depends if you're in pounds or US dollars as well. In pounds, you can earn about 30 to 40,000 with a train like this, and the maximum distance you can go before you start losing money on your trip is actually only about between this lake and that lake. If you go any further than that, you will find that you will get paid the same amount, if not less, for your goods because of these cargo payment rates. If you don't believe me, check it out for yourself. And if you enjoy these videos, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel, and I will see you all next time. Peace out.